Hi there, my name's Vince from imakevince.com, and in this video today we're going to try to replace the USB-C port on a Nintendo Switch. So this is the port we're going to be putting on, and this is the switch we're going to try and replace it on. Now this is quite a risky one because this switch actually works perfectly apart from the fact it doesn't dock. Now I've already done two videos on this. This was the one with the very bad bend on it, and I straightened it all up. Thought I had a perfectly working switch until I went to dock it, then realised at the end of the video that it wouldn't actually display on the TV. So I did another video on it, trying to do numerous different things to try and solve that. I think I changed the video chip, can't rightly remember now, but unfortunately it didn't make any difference at all. So a few people reckon it's to do with the USB-C port, where it was bent. They think that maybe one or two of the pins have lifted, in which case they're not making a contact anymore. So this is going to be slightly risky because this is perfect apart from the fact it doesn't dock. But that is half the fun about the Switch, is the fact that you can dock it and then you can play on the big screen. With this one, the lights go out and everything, it's just that nothing happens on TV. So it looks like it should be working, but it just doesn't display. So I've been putting it off for a while because obviously this is not an easy job. But I think nothing ventured, nothing gained. I'm going to give it a go and hopefully I might be successful. Now if you have a look at this, the thing that makes it hard is the fact it's got two rows of pins. So when this is in the Nintendo Switch, you can see these pins, so in theory you could just rub a soldering iron along there. Annoyingly though, it's got a second lot of pins on the inside and there's no way of getting to them once it's in place. So it's going to be a case of heating up the solder pads first, placing it on, and then hoping that it's going to make a connection. But I've got a technique to do this. I've already practiced twice. I don't know if I was successful or not because the boards I practiced on were faulty boards anyway, but the ports went on quite nice. Now it's going to take me a long time to do. I'm going to do it very slowly, but hopefully I will be able to get this on. Whether it's going to fix the issue that it doesn't dock, I don't know. But really it's the last thing I can try. So let's put this in and see what happens. So we need to get this board out of the Switch because we don't want to end up burning everything like I did on one of my previous Switch videos. So we've got to undo all the ribbon cables, all the screws and everything. This is going to take a while, and then we're going to have the board out on the table. So I've got the board out. Now I've watched Tronics Fix do a video on this, and basically he replaces it all from this side here. So he puts the heat on, the heat on here, and then basically he offers up the new one and puts it on. Thing is, I'm not overly confident doing that, so I'm going to do it slightly differently, and also I want to try and get the unleaded solder off here and put leaded solder on. Just out of curiosity, you can see the bend. So this was the one that was very badly bent, and if you have a look now, can you see it's still bending up this way? So it's kind of kicking up here, and the bend does roughly, it's kind of around the port here. It's more slightly to the side of it, but maybe it is possible that one of the pins have lifted. I mean, what I haven't tried doing is putting heat in there to see if just by heating it up it will fix, will reflow it. No, I think I'm going to take it off because I need to get used to changing these anyway, and also I don't think there's going to be enough solder on there to really grab it back on again if it's broken off. Maybe one of the pads itself is broken, so I really need to have a look in there to see what's happening with it. So what I'm going to do to begin with is I'm going to heat up my soldering iron, and I'm going to add some low melt solder to these ground pins here, and then hopefully that will lower the temperature of the unleaded solder to something where I'm not going to burn the whole board. And then I'm hoping that will let it drop off easier. So this is what I'm going to be using, is something called Chip Quick. This stuff here. It's expensive, but really you should only need a little blob on each of the ground pad things. Got my soldering iron set at 480 degrees C, which is very high, but I'm not really holding it on there for very long. And my soldering iron is not very powerful, so when it comes to like these ground pins here, it just seems to take all the heat out of it very quickly. So you can see you don't really need much off it. You can see I've used very little off it there. Yeah, probably less than an inch. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to heat it from above, and then once it starts to melt, I'm going to use the tweezers and gently just pull it down, and hopefully that way I won't damage any of the pads. So I've got my air set to 3 out of 8. I've got this set to 480 degrees C. In fact, you know, I can lower that down actually. I can lower that down. I'm going to put it down to 400. Because now we've got the low melt solder on, it should find it a lot easier. Now I didn't put any of the low melt solder on the actual pins themselves. Remember, I can't actually get to one of the rows. But because those pads are quite small, it's the ground pads that are the massive ones, and they seem to take the most heating up because they're big. Alright, so I'm just going to keep moving around here. This will probably take about 2 minutes of heating up. There we go, so that's that off now. So actually, while it's hot, I'm going to try to clean up these ground pads by basically using the solder sucker underneath and the soldering iron on top. And hopefully that will clear them out. Well, those bottom two cleared out really easy, luckily. Right, that's cleared out. Yeah, they're pretty clear, so I think that will be okay. So that was really nice to clear them out. That went pretty good actually, and it's because of the low melt solder, just makes everything much easier. If you have a look now, you can see that the actual holes themselves are clear. Now let's have a look at this side. So let's get some wick and let's remove this old solder, and then we can put fresh leaded solder on. When I do that, I probably will have to clear the holes out again, but I'll try to be careful. I'll try to do it just in the middle. Actually, looking at the old USB port, it all looks really good, so I'm not so sure now if this is going to be the problem. It all looks nice. I'm just going to use a bit of flux. And I've got my soldering iron set to 375 degrees C. And I'm trying to go in line with the pads, and then hopefully I won't rip any of them off. That was a little tip that Chris from Gadget UK taught me. Now I'm going to clean that with a little bit of IPA. Right, it's looking pretty nice. So now let's put some fresh leaded solder on that. Use a tiny bit of flux. I'm going to try if I can to stay away from the ground pads. And again, give it a quick clean. Okay, so that's it there. I think that looks okay. Right, so I have blocked up these tiny little holes here, but I might get away with that. And also this little one here. Let's line up the new socket and see what it feels like. Right, so this is it here. Although they were down as new, they're not actually new. They look like they came off another Nintendo Switch, but all the pins seem to be in place. So it might even help that there's a little bit of solder on here. Okay, to make it easier for me, I'm going to have to try to free up those little holes, which is a bit annoying. So I'm going to heat it up again and try to suck out those little holes there. Now this might take a while because this is leaded solder and not the low melt stuff. Do you know what? I'm going to struggle with that, so I'm just going to leave it, because I'm going to be heating up the board now anyway, and when I heat it up, then hopefully those bits of solder will just melt through. So I'm going to get the hot air on this, and I'm going to be basically heating downwards here, which is going to be heating up these little solder pads that I've just done. And then once it's heated up and it's all kind of liquid, I'm going to place this on here, and hopefully that will just go into place, and that will be the pins done. Then in my own time, without any rush, I can just solder up these ground pads. Right, so airflow is 3 out of 8. And temperature's 400. I'm not putting any flux on this because I'm going to find it hard to clean that inner pin, the inner edge of pins, so I'm doing this without flux. Right, in the holes now it's definitely liquid, so I'm just going to do it a little bit longer, but if the holes are liquid, I'm hoping the pads now will be liquid as well. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to place it down and use quite a bit of force forcing it down. Just holding it there for 20 seconds or so. Right, hopefully that might have done. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just blow the air in this way, just to add a little bit of heat in there now where everything's still warm. I don't want to do it for too long because I don't want to melt the black plastic on the actual USB-C. So that's all I'm going to do now. Now we can turn the air off and we're just going to use a soldering iron for the rest. Now, for me, I'm putting the soldering iron right up to 480C because it's a weak, cheap soldering iron and the boards just suck the heat up from it. Right, I can test the pins in a bit. Let's solder it up now. Right, so we're using leaded solder. And I'm just filling up the holes. Right, I think I'm happy with that. I'm going to clean it up and then I'm going to do the pin test by wobbling the pins. But remember, I can't get to the inner pins anyway. Right, now I don't know if it's going to work. It might be much worse than it was before. It still might not dock and now it might not charge either. But as far as the actual replacement went, I'm really happy with it. So if you have a look at it there. Now I know I've probably put too much solder on it, but I don't think it's going to do it any harm by having too much. And that's that side there, and these are the pins. So you can see it all looks nice and flat and nice and straight, and I definitely didn't rip any of the pads off, which is good. Right, let's test these pins that we can see. Stuck. I'm not sure about number 3 here. I think it's okay. I'm just going to tap it with the soldering iron. I think they're all okay. Right, let's pop it back into the switch and then we'll see what happens with it. See if it's still going to work as good as it did before, and more importantly, see if it docks now. No, I can worry about the thermal paste later. I just want to see if it's working to begin with. I think that's everything back together. So let's put the battery in and let's see if it still works on the screen. Excellent. So now we have to see if it charges, and then lastly we have to see if it docks. Okay, that's brilliant news so far. Let's plug in the charger and see if it charges. Here we go. No, it's not charging. Let's try it the other way around. That's annoying, isn't it? It's not charging now. So that wasn't successful. So it's not going to dock, is it, if it's not charging? Well, I thought that looked to have gone really well. Oh well, major problem, isn't it? If it's not charging, as soon as the battery goes, this switch isn't going to work anymore. What a shame. What a shame. All the pins there look to be connected. Right, okay, I'm going to bring it over to the dock just to see what happens. I'll be back in a minute. No, it doesn't make any difference because, of course, as soon as you plug it in, it doesn't even go off because it's not recognising the fact that it is plugged in. So obviously those pins have not made the connection. Right, okay, let's take this thing apart again and let's try to heat it up again. Okay, so here it is. Now this one's a really confusing one to me because that went on perfectly, and now when I go across the pins here, none of them are bridged. They all look absolutely fine, and when I wobble them, they're not moving. So that says to me that they are attached to the pads. In which case then, when you would think that it would be one row for one way round and the other row for the other way round. So you think by me swapping the charger around, and also you're not going to need all 10 pins or however many pins are here, I haven't counted. You're not going to need all of them to charge it up. So that's just really strange. See, what worries me when you're working on boards is all that heat, has it then caused some damage? Let's say now if it was fragile before, pretend now it wasn't the USB at fault. If there's loads of different layers in the middle of here, which there is, there's traces running. This isn't just the top and bottom, there's also traces running in the middle of this board, so it's like sandwiched in different layers. Adding all that heat to it, is it possible that it could damage something else if there was already, you know, like if it was like a nearly damaged anyway? Or have I just not done it correctly? But that there looks perfect to me. Well, I suppose I'm just going to have to add heat to it to see if it will flow anything. But I added leaded solder to it. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get this one working, if I'm honest with you. I'm going to put it right the way up to 480. I'm going to put the air up to 4 out of 8. Try to get the heat right in there. So I'm just going to let it drop out and then put it back in again. And if it doesn't work, I suppose I'll have to take it out again and try to put more solder on the pads. There, it was ready to drop then. Right, so it's out now. Right, I'm just going to try to put it on again. Maybe try to just heat up this little bit underneath. Right, well I'm right the way in and I'm actually lifted up the whole board with it. So I'm just going to keep it there for 10 seconds or so. Right, let's have a look now. There's a lot of heat there, I've got to let it cool down. Right, okay, maybe that did go a lot more flat that time because I'm looking at the pins here and they seem to be kind of like forced down this time. If anything, they look to be a tiny little bit kind of like off to one side if you have a look closely there. Well, let's pop it back in the board and see what, put it back in the switch and see what's happening with it. Okay, I haven't put all the screws back in. I just want to see what's happening now. So plugging it in there, let's see if it turns on still. Good news. Right, and the touchscreen works. Now let's see if this is going to charge this time. No. No, it's not charging. Oh, unbelievable. Yes, it's charging now. Right, I had to push it right the way in. Excellent. Look, it's charging. Right, okay. I had to push it right the way in. And now it's charging that side as well. Yes. Right, maybe I kind of possibly melted the inside a little bit. Or, again, remember these are like, in a way, used USB-C ports. So, yeah, it's definitely charging now quite consistently. So watch this. I'm pleased. So even if it doesn't dock, at least it was the same as it was before. Because it'd be annoying to ruin this one. And it's charging both way around. Right, okay, let's bring this over to the TV and let's see if it docks. Okay, so I haven't done it yet. It's going to be live on the video. Yes or no, what do you think? I think, oh, I don't know, I'm really hopeful, but I think no. But I am hopeful. The reason I think no is because when I took the old USB-C port off, it looked perfect. So I think it's something else that's wrong. But there is part of me that is hopeful. Right, here we go. Lights have gone out. Come on. Oh, it hesitated. It hesitated for a minute. Not a minute, a second. Let's try it a few more times. Force it down. No. Okay. Well, look, I haven't made it worse than it was before. What I am going to try is I'm going to try a portable dock, because if I try a portable dock, it means that I can swap it round both ways. And I'm thinking if it doesn't work one way, then it might work the other way, because I'd be unlucky to have both of the rows, you know, like one pin unsoldered on both of them, or two pins unsoldered. So let's try that, see if it makes a difference. Right, let's have a look. Right, that one doesn't want to go all the way in. No. No, it's a poor fit, that. Okay. Oh, here we go. Right, so there's nothing happening on TV that way. Now let's try it this way around. No, it doesn't want to go in. Oh, there we go. Right, but it's still not docking. So I'm pretty confident now the problem wasn't to do with the USB port. So although it's not working, at least now we've got more knowledge. Don't know what the problem is. It's probably going to be a hidden trace somewhere sandwiched in the board. You know, one of the tracks on one of the inside layers. Right, I've got one more dock to try. Definitely not a good fit though. No. No. That is a real shame. Real shame. Of course, these are not plugged in the back, are they? Right, there's one more thing to try. Somebody mentioned that, well, a viewer mentioned that by the video chip, there's these little filters, and sometimes they can blow, which can cause the non-docking. So I might as well check them out. It means popping the board out one more time, but I might as well just have a quick look at that, just in case. And then if that's not it, then I will definitely call it a day on this switch, and I don't think this switch will be taken apart again, because every time I take it apart, the more chance I've got of, for example, ruining that ribbon cable connector that feeds the screen. And this is a working switch, so I was a bit disappointed there when that USB port wasn't working, and now the fact that it's charging again, I don't really want to push my luck with it. So let's take it apart for one last time. Okay, so you can see where we are. This is a USB port that we've just replaced, and the bend in the board does go up around this area here, so it could be something to do with these ones here. Right, so I've got this on continuity, and I'm just going to go from top to bottom and then move along. So there we go. So that's not short in there, and they're not short in there. So they're only short in on either side, which is the side. If you have a look, you can see the track comes down here and then goes onto that side there, and that track comes down and goes onto that side. So if we went to there, it would go to this pin here. There. And this pin would go to this one. Yeah, you get the idea. Right, let's go across them. That looks okay. That's okay. That's okay. And that's okay. So I don't think there's anything wrong with these, personally. Yeah, alright, I'm not going to spend any more time on this. That was the last thing I tried. Remember, I've already done a whole video trying to work out what this was. So, in the comments, people said it was either the USB port, and it's not, in my opinion, it's not the USB port. I could be wrong, but I don't think it is. And I've also been advised that these things can cause it as well, and in this instance they don't. So I think I'm going to go back to the original idea that because of the bend, there's some trace or track, if you want to call it, sandwiched in the middle of the board, which is causing the problem. That's what I believe is happening. Right, okay, so let's put this together one last time, give it a final check, and then we'll call it a day. Now, in case you're wondering, because I know I'm going to get messages about it, do you remember my burnt switch with numerous faults on it that I did on the video before this? Well, I did change the USB-C port in that one as well, and unfortunately there was quite a few pads missing on the inner pins, the hidden pins. So, yes it docks, but not when you use the proper Nintendo Switch dock. If you use the portable one, it will work, but you have to have it in a certain way. So if I take that out and twist it round and put it back in, it won't work. But if you put it in one of the way round, then it will work. Strange thing is, I took apart this dock and I actually swapped around the inner bit there. So I took it all out, and it didn't matter which way I put it in, this one would not dock. But for some reason with the portable one, it does dock. So yes, it docks, but it's far from ideal because it doesn't dock with the proper Nintendo Switch dock, and also it only works with that a certain way round, but still better than nothing. So let's get back to the other part of the video. Okay, so that's it, back together again, and it's working the same as it was before, which is fine by me. And now when we plug it in, you can see, there you go, charging. Now if I unplug it, goes off, let's twist it round, plug it in the other way, charging. So it doesn't matter which way we put it in, which is good, which is how it should be. Real shame it doesn't dock, but at least now I've finally proved to myself that it's not the USB port. Well, I mean, I haven't proved 100%, have I? Because I don't know whether it was done correctly or not. Now, disappointing, it didn't work first time round. So again, when I come to do these again, I will be nervous doing it because I had to basically do it the way that I seen Steve from Tronics Fix do it in his video, which is basically just remove it and then put it back on again. And maybe that's the way I should do it. I just thought that by doing it the other way, you could take your time and you wouldn't be under so much pressure to get it done while everything was really, really hot. But obviously the way I did it to begin with, I mustn't have got the board hot enough. So although the solder was melting in those two little holes, the pads mustn't have been melted enough. I don't really know, if I'm honest with you, but I've done it once. I will definitely tackle them again, but I don't think it's ever going to be a job that I would feel comfortable doing. You probably have to do maybe 20 of them before you would really start feeling comfortable, because the way I did it the second time, it was all in a big rush. You're having to drop the one off, put the next one on while everything's red hot. But it appeared to work it appeared to work the second time round, so I'm happy with that. So yeah, this switch, I'm afraid, I don't think will ever be dockable, which is a shame because I really wanted to find out what the problem was. But bit by bit, we've eliminated quite a few things. I think now it's time to let this switch rest and just be purely a handheld switch. So hopefully you did enjoy this video. I'm just trying to think, would you have learned anything from that USB? Don't really know if you would have learned anything from that. But then again, that is the point, isn't it? With these videos, you don't really learn from them. It's more for entertainment to see what I can do, because it's not a how-to video. If I had done 100 of these, then I would be able to tell you exactly how to do it. But unfortunately, I haven't, and I can't. But still, hopefully, you did enjoy it. For me, I'm relieved. That's all I can say, is I'm relieved now it is charging again, because I was definitely disappointed when I plugged it in and it wasn't charging. So at least it's charging now. So that is it for this video. If you liked it, I appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe for more Trying to Fix videos. Take care. Bye now.